how do you really know if you can afford to retire? Relying on a predefined withdrawal rate like the well-known 4% rule, which is based solely on your portfolio starting value, is completely flawed. But if that's not the right approach, then what is? In this video, I'll share 3 essential steps every retiree should take before retiring. And these steps will give you the confidence to know you can not only retire comfortably, but also remain comfortably retired, no matter what happens in the markets. To make this practical, I'll walk you through a real-life client case study. Let's call them Andy and Sue. Andy and Sue came to us with a simple question: can we retire? They had done a great job saving for retirement. They've built up their workplace pensions. They've been contributing to ISAs and paying off their mortgage. But they realized there's no universal magic number or formula that says you can now retire. And that's where we came in to guide them. Their primary concern was ensuring they could retire without the fear of depleting their portfolio or needing to return to work someday. So in this video, we'll dive into their plan and show how we answered that crucial question. Andy and Sue are both 65. And so let's take a look at their financial situation, starting with their assets. They have approximately $850K split between pensions, ISAs, and cash savings. Their pensions and ISAs are invested in a moderately aggressive portfolio, meaning they have slightly higher allocation to equities than a traditional balanced portfolio. This provides an expected annual return of 5.52% a year. Both Andy and Sue received the full state pension from age 67. Additionally, Andy has a defined benefit pension paying £750 per year from age 65. When it comes to retirement expenses, their aim is to maintain a current lifestyle. So their essential costs such as bills, council tax, house maintenance, and food totals around £3,000 per month. On top of that, they spend about £1,250 per month on lifestyle expenses, and this includes entertainment, eating out, and socializing. They also plan to allocate around an extra £500 per month for travel during retirement, though this is only expected to continue until age 75. Andy and Sue are in the fortunate position of owning their own home, completely outright, so no mortgage, and they don't own any other property. Their main question is whether they can afford to retire. So for this assessment, we'll assume they are no longer earning any income and are officially retired. So that's it. It's quite simple. Both age 65, around $850K in their retirement portfolio. They would like to spend a total of £4,750 in retirement, and this includes £500 per month on travel, which will come to an end at age 75. So the first key step is to understand how their retirement plan is going to look like based on a straight line investment return. There are 4 main charts we took them through to help them understand their situation. But before I get to that, I want to know their retirement score. And for Andy and Sue, it is 115%. This is not a Monte Carlo result. It is just telling us how much of their retirement is funded. So at the point they retire, they have enough in their portfolio to fund the expenses up to age 95 and have about 15% left over. So they have a surplus. And that's a great starting point. Now I want to understand how their plan looks and the direction their finances might take throughout retirement. To do that, we start by looking at the needs projection chart. This chart provides a summary of their yearly outflows, including taxes, over the course of Andy and Sue's retirement plan. So why is this important? Well, mapping out their expenditure helps them see what's essentially required to maintain their lifestyle. It also highlights when certain expenses like travel might taper off. But more importantly, it reminds them that retirement spending isn't just about covering their living costs. It also includes taxes on withdrawals from their accounts. For example, to generate a net monthly income of $4,750, they'll need to withdraw more than that to cover their taxes as well. And this gives us a clear picture of what they truly need to plan for. The next chart is the detailed income projection. And this provides a detailed view of their income sources to cover those expenses over the lifetime of their retirement. And this essentially tells us what guaranteed sources of income Andy and Sue have, such as their state pension and defined benefit pension income, but also how much they require to withdraw from their pensions and ISAs each year to fund their expenditure. As previously mentioned, taxes are important and can often be overlooked in retirement. So I want to understand how much taxes Andy and Sue are paying and project that over their retirement. So the total taxes chart shows us the total taxes they pay each year, but it then allows us to ask questions such as why this increase in the first few years of retirement? What can we do to mitigate tax going forward? And can we implement a different withdrawal strategy? And how much will this save Andy and Sue? And how much will it increase their retirement score by? Lastly, I want to see what their total portfolio is looking like over their retirement. Essentially, is their portfolio maintaining its value? Is it growing or is it being depleted too quickly? For Andy and Sue, we can see that their portfolio is sloping downwards, and this essentially indicates they are withdrawing their capital and some, which is reducing their value of their portfolio. However, in today's money, they will still have around £255,000 remaining when they get to the end. Now, it's a question to ask. Are Andy and Sue comfortable with this? Are they comfortable seeing their portfolio fall in value every year? Some people are not comfortable with it, and this is important to map out and understand the projections of what might happen. So in summary, by doing this first step provides us with an opportunity to identify any gaps and therefore allows us to optimize this plan. We can look at withdrawal strategies, tax efficiency, lowering costs, and diversification. So we've identified Andy and Sue's retirement score and mapped out their plan using straight line investment returns. The next important step is to put their plan through some what-if scenarios. A what-if scenario looks at situations we hope won't happen, but deep down we think might happen. And these often are the reasons people delay retirement. For example, you might think, I'll work another year until markets recover, or inflation is too high at the moment, I will consider putting off retirement for now. The benefit of running these scenarios is that we can model those worst case situations and see how their plan holds up. From there, we can create both proactive and reactive strategies to help them feel more confident. That way, if something unexpected does happen, they've already have a plan in place, and which hopefully gives them peace of mind. For example, if Andy and Sue get unlucky and there's a big market crash of 30% a year into retirement, how will this impact their retirement score? And what strategies can they apply to minimize this impact? For example, how about reducing their discretionary expenditure by 5% for a certain period of time, or delaying their travel plans for a year? Would they be okay with this? Most probably. And we can do the same for prolonged levels of high inflation if Andy and Sue live longer than expected, and even if they're experiencing disappointing market returns. The purpose of this second step is to put the initial plan, which uses straight line investment returns, under some stress. Now on to step 3. So we've looked at straight line returns, but now we want to see how the plan holds up under real market conditions, where returns vary each year. What happens if we do go through a prolonged period of poor market performance, or if there's another market crash like in 2008? So this kind of analysis lets us review how sensitive the plan might be to market volatility. And this is called a volatility analysis. Essentially, it considers the types of assets Andy and Sue have and acknowledges that we don't know if they will retire in great markets, terrible markets, or somewhere in between. What we can do is simulate 1,000 different market scenarios, so some good, some bad, some average, and see when they might need to adjust their plan, or when or if they're likely to be fined. First, we'll look at the plan capability score, which summarizes the results of these simulations. So based on the outcomes, the score will be one of the following: either great, good, fair, or improve. And this gives us a very high level view of whether Andy and Sue are in a strong position, need minor tweaks, or might need some serious changes like reducing spending or even returning to work to cover essential costs. We then need to analyze the successful trials per year. And this tells us how often the plan meets retirement goals or retirement expenses over time. It helps us understand the time and frequency of potential problems in Andy and Sue funding their retirement. It shows us that in each year, how many trials out of the 1,000 simulations successfully covered all of their retirement expenses. Towards the end of the plan, we can see that few of their 1,000 trials are able to cover all their retirement expenses, and the height of the bar gets lower. For example, towards the later years of retirement, we see fewer successful trials, and the bars could drop from green to yellow or red, indicating higher risk of falling short. Is this a problem for Andy and Sue? I don't think so. It just means that if they don't make any changes to their plan at all, it's very likely that they'll have about a 63% chance of funding their expenses right at the end of retirement. Now, I understand it is a bit silly to view retirement in this way. Of course, Andy and Sue are going to make changes. Life does happen. And realistically, they would have made some small adjustments way before this point to make sure they would still be on track. You can also view the range of total investments. This looks at how Andy and Sue's investments perform across 1,000 simulations. So we can focus on key percentages to show a range of possible outcomes, like the 5th and 95th percentage of results. These are both extreme scenarios, so we can also look at 25% and the 75% ranges for more realistic returns. But most helpful is the middle result. The volatility analysis shows how Andy and Sue's retirement plan could be impacted by variable investment returns and the risk of failure. Essentially, it's the risk of running out of money. But it's not just about identifying if failure might happen. We also need to understand the severity of failure. For instance, if they were the unluckiest retirees ever and depleted their portfolio earlier than expected, what would that actually mean for their retirement? Well, fortunately, they still have their state pensions, and Andy has his small defined benefit pension. So together, these provide a good level of guaranteed inflation-linked income that can cover much of their essential spending. So in the worst case scenario, the question becomes, what does failure look like? Is it about reducing lifestyle and discretionary spending? Or is it something more severe, like not being able to meet basic needs? For Andy and Sue, it's reassuring to know that even in the worst case scenario, they're not facing financial ruin. They still have a secure foundation to rely on. And that's it. The first step is to model out your retirement plan until a certain age, like age 95, using an assumed investment return. And this helps you understand how much of your retirement is funded. Next is to apply certain what-if scenarios, such as a big market crash, inflation being higher, or living longer than expected. As this gets you thinking about proactive and reactive strategies you could implement if those scenarios do play out. And then lastly, you want to do a volatility analysis and really stress test the retirement plan over 1,000 trials to get a better understanding of when any shortfalls may occur. I hope you found this video helpful. Please do leave a like and subscribe to the channel. And as always, if you have any questions about your plans for retirement, then do get in touch. See you in the next video.